So, we are here. And this is the end. This is the last one. It's Halloween! Happy Halloween, everybody!
Yay, happy Halloween.
So, this is the final episode of our Halloween series. Starting Monday of next week, we'll be back to our regular releases. Today, we are not going to talk about one cryptid, but about several. And they're not cryptids anymore. That's right. Today, we're talking about cryptids that turned out to be real. So,
Or we just figured out what they were.
right. And
documented by science and everything.
Heckin' science. So the and this was an episode I was really excited about because as I said, I am the opposite of a skeptic. Have that deep-seated need for it all to be real. So it's neat to break down some of the quote unquote successes.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one that that we're going to talk about so was originally, I believe, described by Amerigo Vespucci. He described it as having the head of a fox, the hands of a man, and the tail of a monkey. And I'm also pretty sure that at some point I read a description of the same creature that indicated that it had two heads.
Sometimes had two
Sometimes
heads.
had two heads, yes. Just real quick, what do you guys think this creature turned out to be? Because it turned out to be something. I'm going to give you a second. All right, well, if you haven't guessed it yet, you're not going to. Or just pause the episode.
It's kind of hard to guess.
Right?
What that could be.
Yes. So, turned out to be a kangaroo. Mm-hmm. Kangaroos at one point in time were not a documented species in the early days of exploration, and were considered to be a mythical critter until such a time as a specimen was brought back to quote unquote civilization.
The natives were like, "Look, it's real." And they were like, "Nah, it couldn't be." And turns out, yeah, it was.
Can't be a thing. So yeah, you know, which and everything in Australia wants to kill you, and so if there was going to be a place that hid an actual cryptid, I could sure Australia.
There's multiple.
Who's going to go to confirm?
Used to be cryptids that
Absolutely
are in Australia.
Yep. I think which I'm not sure where the okapi is native to. That looks kind of, it's like a zebra deer thing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's Africa, but I could
I
be
believe
wrong.
so. I think you're right.
African animal, but
yeah. They're strange looking, and honestly, like if science like if we hadn't documented that they were real, and somebody was describing that to me, I'd be like, nah.
Well, platypus used to be a cryptid.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at a platypus, it is literally a mashed up version of a bunch of different animals, and we're really not sure how they came about.
A duck-billed beaver that lays eggs.
And is poisonous.
Yay! Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of weird. You look at any animal and you could describe it with other animals' attributes, and
yep,
it's just kind of.
And that's one of the really cool things about cryptozoology is trying to, once you start to cut through the dramatizations and everything, and start to get to the actual creature, things start to make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're a platypus.
Those don't make sense.
We're just confused anyway.
Look, Perry's special.
I forget about Perry.
Oh man, can't forget about Perry.
No, he's so good.
Recently, I read a very interesting, and this isn't confirmed, not quite, but a very interesting pitch as to the identity of the Jersey Devil.
Oh.
What
was this pitch?
Well, it was
Do I know this pitch?
you
Is
do.
this? Oh,
We talked
okay.
about this.
Remind me of this pitch.
Was a bat. Was a type of bat.
Oh, yes. Okay. What kind of?
I
Hold
don't remember
on.
the name of the bat.
I think it was like a hammerhead bat. Hold on. I'm gonna look this up.
I think so because it sounded like it was some other type of like it was crossed with something else. I think I remember thinking hammerhead shark. Um.
Yes, hammer-headed bat.
So
Oh
if
my
you
gosh. Look up images of this, y'all. If you have not seen a picture of the hammer-headed bat, it looks exact like just the head part looks exactly like pictures that have been like illustrated pictures of the Jersey Devil.
yeah, like it's a crazy looking creature.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very large species of bat. Um. And like the head honestly looks kind of like a horse's head.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look it up, you're going to realize that it's not native to the same area that the Jersey Devil is native to. However, they were known for sneaking on board along with ships along with exports from their native land, and and many of those exports did come here. So it is possible that which I'm not saying they ever established a breeding population.
I think they hopped off the boat because these ships were around during the time that the story of the Jersey Devil began.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm thinking that them being temporarily in this environment, they were seen. Somebody
Mhm.
didn't know what the heck that was. It was a lot larger than bats that are native to this area. So they were making up stories to
Mhm.
explain why this creature existed. And those stories stuck.
Yep.
The actual animal may not have.
Right.
It's not made to live
Here.
in that cold of an environment. They're native to Africa.
Mhm.
So they're used to a lot warmer climate, but they just stuck around for a little while, probably died off, unfortunately, because they're
Or
really
Babs.
cool.
Yeah.
They're terrifying if one flies over you because they're so huge, but I mean, once they died off, the story stuck.
Yeah.
And now anything you see that you may not know what it
It's suddenly the Jersey
is the
Devil.
Jersey Devil. Yep.
Um, and that's the big thing with cryptids is that it starts off like they can start off with like a legitimate case of misidentification, and then is suddenly everything that goes bump in the night is X
Starts
thing.
as a story, then a rumor, then gossip, and then it turns into this huge thing.
Mm-hmm. And
becomes legend.
Right. And I'd like to say the farther back you go, the more prone people were to hysteria and, blowing things wildly out of proportion. But I've been on the internet. That's not true. people are still people are still like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's I don't know. It's just really cool to start putting faces with the legends. So another famous cryptid that turned out to at least sort of be true was the Kraken.
It's not sort of true. It's definitely true. The
So
Kraken's out there.
so science has confirmed the existence of the colossal squid.
Mm-hmm.
Giant and colossal. Colossal is the biggest.
Well, it depends how you're looking at it. I think both of them are just very large, but one of them, the arms are longer.
Mm.
But one of them has longer arms, so technically lengthwise it's bigger, but
Right.
the other one has a larger body.
So I think I don't remember the specs on the giant. I believe the colossal measures up over 40 feet.
And it's hard for us to tell because we have so few specimens.
Right.
And once we do get a specimen, they show up on shore or get caught in fishing nets. We have to preserve that immediately,
Right,
because of the weight of their bodies and the way that their bodies decompose.
mm-hmm.
They turn into jelly.
Yeah.
Like just the jelly substance, and you can't really examine that very well.
No.
They have a limited time frame to be able to measure them, to weigh them, and whether or not they're accurately weighing them because they have to weigh them in water.
Right.
Because if they take them out of water, they just collapse on in themselves.
Yep.
And
best they've been able to measure, they weigh in around 600 and something pounds, 600 pounds, over 600.
And we don't even know if that's the biggest one out there.
Absolutely. And there's also a species of giant octopus
Mhm.
that from so if you spread its tentacles out from tentacle to tentacle at the widest point, largest specimen measured 36ish, I think it was, feet.
It's so big.
And also weighed in over 600 pounds.
So big.
Yeah, it's absolutely massive. And now we do know, well, we don't know what the largest specimen of that creature
We
is.
can't know. I mean, squid, the way that they live deep down in the ocean and they stay there during the day. And the smaller squid
Hmm.
will come up to eat smaller fish at the surface of the water.
Hmm.
But the bigger they get, the deeper they go, and they
Yep.
don't have to come up as much.
Right.
And I think sometimes they eat each other. So
Yep.
you'll have a squid eating another squid.
Hmm.
So they don't, I mean, why go up further when you can just have a little snack here?
Right. And so a lot of creatures, and this feels like it's especially true of marine life, they don't have a theoretical maximum to their size, for the most part. As long as they
Mm-hmm.
have, as long as their circulatory system can support their size and they can find enough food to
Mm-hmm.
support their size, they can keep growing. Now octopi have a theoretical. I say theoretical. They have sort of this built-in thing where once they mate, they just stop eating.
Mm-hmm.
So they really only live to be 3 to 5 years in the wild, and but the 36 feet 600 pounds has still been recorded. And I mean, who's to say that there's not a squid who's just really confused about how life works, and just kept on eating.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if squid and octopuses, I don't know if they have that
Octo
same
friends.
trigger.
I don't know. I've not read that it is
They
present
could.
in squids, but I don't know that for a
Yeah.
certainty.
They're definitely very similar.
Yes. But so the history of the Kraken actually is a little bit muddy. So there's a bit of debate as to who first described the Kraken.
Mm-hmm.
So the earliest, the what's typically regarded as the first description describes it as a fish with either multiple arms or multiple claws.
Mm-hmm.
Um and that sounds very,
It's like squid.
that's classic Kraken
Yeah.
right there. Um, the other earliest description described it as essential as a colossal creature that could be mistaken for an island, and the individual who recorded the account said that they sailed their ship through its mouth and its teeth were like rocks. And this one sounds much more like a whale, or like an exaggerated whale.
Mm.
Um, and
How
is
did
that
they get out? How did that end?
I don't
That's
know.
terrifying.
Um,
I want to read that.
it's it's actually a lot closer to the description of, and I can't pronounce it, but it's like half. I can't pronounce it. It's an old like Icelandic mythical creature
Mm-hmm.
that was supposedly the size of an island, or
Right.
something like that. But that kraken description is not what we normally think of as the kraken. And so that could be there are some very large species of whales. The blue whale
For
being
sure.
the largest. It's
They're known
400,
for being big.
yeah, 400,000 pounds and 90 something feet long. Which, by the way, most sailing ships of the day were, the large cargo ships were around 96, 98 feet. So, literally, whales could be as big as the very ships they sailed on.
Mm-hmm.
You add in, and sailors like to exaggerate. So,
Get drunk and tell a
right, get
story.
drunk, tell a story, get drunk and pretend you're a captain. And then get
You
drunk and tell a
maybe
story.
shouldn't do that.
No, you shouldn't. But so I could very easily see them having experienced a very large species of whale and been like, guys, it was so big. Its teeth were like
It's
rocks.
like those fishing
Yeah.
tails. I swear it was this big. It wasn't.
The
It
picture
really
itself
wasn't.
weighed 12 pounds.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
uh, but
So some of these stories do need to be taken with a grain of salt, for
absolutely,
sure, or a
absolutely,
couple of
and
grains of salt.
yeah, and there's not just one Kraken.
Well, that's the cool thing. Like we found what we're pretty sure are what these descriptions were based off
Mm-hmm.
of, but that one creature ended up being multiple different
Yep.
creatures. And I mean, obviously a squid's a squid, but like the colossal squid and the giant squid, those are two different species.
Mm-hmm.
As far as we can tell right now, there have been instances where we thought two different creatures were a different species, and it turns out one was the male and one was the female, and they just
True.
look different.
Yeah.
I mean, with birds all the time, look at a robin.
Mm-hmm.
Males have that red tummy and females don't.
Yep.
So it could be something similar. We might find that out later when we start
Yeah.
being able to research that more. As we
Right.
get more exploratory into the deep sea, which I really want us to explore more. I know you don't, but I do. But if we find that out,
Yeah.
but even then, with the giant octopus that we found, it's probably either an octopus or a squid. We have so many different accounts that are slightly different but very similar.
Right. Now, and I will say that despite the fact that they are of incredible size, it does the accounts of them pulling boats under does still feel a little far fetched. 600 pounds might be enough if they tried really hard to tip a smaller sailboat.
Mhm.
But as far as reaching up and pulling down a full 96-foot caravel or something like
So
that,
nothing like Pirates of the Caribbean.
right? Nothing like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like for like there are people who are 600 pounds.
Yeah.
And certainly, you have 600 pounds worth of cargo shift. Like we can easily see demonstrations of that kind of weight shifting around in everyday life,
Right.
or reasonably everyday life. And while it's not insignificant, it's hardly the cataclysmic accounts of
Right.
the sea monsters pulling ships beneath.
Well, and so like when you think of an apex predator, which I'm sure a lot of these giant squids in their environment are apex predators, you don't usually see like nowadays accounts of, oh, a kraken ate my ship and
Right.
brought it down. I don't know. I'm convinced that sea life has a long memory,
Mm.
a really long memory. Any other apex predator is, and like sharks, for example, tigers, lions, bears, they are exploratory eaters.
Mm-hmm.
They are experimental. They will nom on you just to see if you taste good, and if you don't, they'll walk away.
Right.
That's just how they are. So if they see something, which is a lot of times actually how shark attacks happen,
Mm-hmm.
they see you and they either think you're something else, like a seal, or they'll see you and think, oh, that looks like it could be yummy. I'm going to try it.
Right.
If something big enough saw the ship,
Mm-hmm.
and squid are used to attacking whales,
Mm-hmm.
if they
Yeah.
thought maybe it was something they could nom on,
Yeah.
or even if they were just curious about what it is, octopuses, they are so curious and smart.
Yeah.
They will go up to something and play with it just to see what it does.
Yeah.
I believe a giant octopus could run up there and like just play with a ship and like probably accidentally break it. But like wander around on it, crawl on it, try to figure out what the heck this is.
Mm-hmm. And it could have been a coincidental thing. Like they could they could have encountered a giant squid or a giant octopus, maybe even tried to catch it, and then they hit and their ship sank for another reason, and they were just like, oh man, that thing pulled us under. Like,
Right.
like, could happen. One thing though, ships predominantly are not made of the same materials they were made of back then.
That's true.
We're talking wooden sail ships. Most ships now have hulls of either metal or carbon fiber or something like that.
Right.
Um, it's part of the reason why. So during the 1800s, when whaling was still a big thing, 1700s and 1800s, there were several accounts of whales actually sinking ships.
Right.
And which, even though whales aren't prone to aggressive reaction to people, you shoot a sharp pointy thing into them, and you know um and I mean, we're not talking like 50, 60 ships that have sunk. It's more like a dozen, but it still happened. And the and somewhere in amongst all that is kind of where the inspiration for Moby Dick came from. um but once ships kind of made the switch over to sturdier hulls, we stopped getting those reports. But it also did sort of coincide with the end of whaling, large end of popularized commercial whaling.
Right. Yeah.
We found alternatives to whale oil, and so on and so forth, and then it became illegal and stuff. Uh,
Right.
but like I I don't know. I definitely feel like that we can put identified on
Oh
on
yeah,
the
for
Kraken.
sure. Yeah. I was gonna look up the most recent Kraken sighting, and it's just giving me a bunch of like scientists finally found it. And I'm like, yes, I know, but before scientists found it, when was the most recent
You know,
Kraken
it is
sighting?
sort of odd. I hear a lot about Bigfoot sightings, Loch Ness monster sightings, champ sightings.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't remember the last time I heard somebody like. I don't remember the last time I heard about a Kraken sighting or a sea serpent sighting
Maybe
out
since
in the
it's
actual
like
ocean.
so now that we know what it is, it's not a mystery anymore. So it's not
Yeah,
as exciting to talk about, which kind of sucks because these creatures are so exciting.
they
Like
are very exciting.
there's so much we can learn from them. There's so much we can learn about the environment of the ocean itself by studying them.
Right now, I will say probably would be less excited if there wasn't already a story.
Everything's bigger down at the bottom of the
Uh,
ocean.
yep, sure
It's
is.
so fun.
That's a word. That's a word for it.
Yep.
It's a word.
Billy
Uh,
does not like deep ocean or anything large that can eat him.
I don't enjoy the fact that there are things that could theoretically swallow me whole and not really notice.
What? It's fine.
Uh, no, it's not.
It's great.
No, I'm out. I'm out about it. Um, but yeah.
So anything we talked about this week could be real.
Could theoretically be real.
Could be real. It could be out there
Yep.
in the world.
And
We just don't know exactly what we're looking at yet or what we're hearing.
yeah. Intrepid visitor from another plane, children with too much time on their hands, large fish up in the up in Lake Champlain,
Big fish.
largest of fishes.
Yay.
Um, Hopefully, what is just a random roaming bear or wolf in southern Wisconsin.
All good stuff.
Oh yeah, could all be out there, guys. So remember, when you're out enjoying your Halloween and your trick or treating and your spookiness this season.
There could be a cryptid out there with you,
Could
wandering
be.
around in the dark.
So don't go check on those noises by yourself. Don't do it.
Please be safe, y'all. Please be safe on Halloween. It's so important.
Definitely, definitely. But this is really all the time we've got.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. I learned about some stuff,
Yeah.
and this stuff is I don't enjoy cryptids nearly as much as you do, but
I
I
like learning about them. I like learning about different cultures and how they interact with it. And there's a bunch of stuff.
yep.
But
We definitely touched on some things that I never would have thought about as far as cryptids go.
And there's so many more out there
Oh
to learn
yes,
about.
I would very much love to do this again, even if it's not for Halloween.
Yay.
But yeah, this has been great, guys. Thank you for taking this journey with us. Um, I'm Billy. That's Amy.
Yep, I'm
Uh,
Amy.
this has been Geek Drasil. Y'all have a happy Halloween.